Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Lewis's vlog, and we started the week off with incline bench press for max effort. Pretty happy with it overall. We're just getting slow little PRs as we go. In his case, we're getting 2.5, 5 kilo PRs, things like that here and there. And that's kind of the goal at this point. Again, he's no longer really bulking at the moment. We don't really want him gaining any more body fat for now. So we're just doing a little bit of recomping, and I may ease him back into some slow bulking coming up. So again, we're not pushing the volume quite as hard, and we're just going for the little small PRs as we can get them. And again, because he's no longer a novice, we're now up to that 4-plate deadlift, right about a 3-plate squat, all those things that we want. So in that case, we're just getting these little small PRs as they come, and just inching forward bit by bit. Because of, again, equipment limitations, the programming and exercise selection is relatively simple. We're sticking to mostly basics here: pause benching, chin-ups. We do JM presses because he does need the extra tricep and arm work. So it's something that we continually work on. So we always leave tricep movements in for him. And I'm having him focus on staying fairly strict on the JM presses. And I know that creates a little confusion for some of my lifters, because they'll see the vlogs of some of my elite guys like Nikola, who I let him basically do power JMs. But the difference is he is a really strong guy with a big foundation. He's got strong elbow tendons. He has quite a few years of lifting. He can handle that. Some of my little less experienced lifters, I would much rather them focus on very, very clean form on stuff like the JM presses. I don't want them dropping the elbows, doing it as a cheating movement. Whereas in some of those other lifters, they're almost just doing a closed grip bench press to the neck. And again, I'm fine with that. So that is something I should probably clarify in these vlogs, because it's come up with some of my lifters. They'll see that and they'll want me to have them do them really strict. I'm like, well, how come some of those guys do them like that? And it's again, these are guys who are benching big weights. They need that transfer sometimes, right? They need their tricep exercises to really, really take the heavy weight. But then they're also doing band work on top of it. And that tends to be some of my guys who are doing more tricep specialization. And you guys have seen me do phases of that stuff too. And right now, of course, I'm doing very, very strict skull crushers during this phase. But I've also done JM presses that looked similar to that. And so again, we need to clarify the experience level and needs difference of these lifters. But I think the thing to remember for some of my little more novice or intermediate type lifters, trying to do JM presses like that will really, really beat them up. Okay, it will beat them up. I want them to have very, very solid, strong elbow tendons before we start doing stuff like that, and we just keep them nice and strict. One of the things you'll notice here, he's asked me about this. He's like, I struggle a little bit with these glute bridges. So something that I've tried to explain to him, he's like, wow, thank you for putting it in that context. Treat the glute bridge like a deadlift. If you need to reset on reps, then reset. So if you need to reset your feet, bring those heels in closer to the glutes, right? If you need to do those things, then do so. It's a movement where we restart on the floor. Okay, just like a deadlift, just like a row, right? Just like a standard barbell row. So if you treat it like what it is, it's a big barbell movement that resets on the floor, then, adjust your position so that you can get tight again and have a good movement. Just like on a deadlift, we might adjust the bar back slightly between reps, right? We'll re-wedge our hips in, okay? We might reset our lats and elbow position on a barbell row on the floor, right? Get them turned back out, re-pull back in tight. You can treat a glute bridge in the same way. Unlike a hip thrust to where we're up on the bench and it's a continual movement where there's continual tension, the glute bridge we're resetting. Okay? Accordingly, we should be stronger on it, by the way. For me, it's about 100 pounds difference. My 10 rep sets on a glute bridge versus a hip thrust are like 100 pounds different. Because again, we're moving a little bit of the range of motion at the bottom, plus we're getting a full reset so that we can power back out of the bottom. And that's the thing, get yourself back into that power position to where you can use the glutes to drive it off the floor. Okay, that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're doing with that movement. Okay, now outside of some of this, of course, he does lateral raises, which I let him do. Younger guy does care a little bit about getting a certain physique over time, so a little extra shoulder work, never a bad idea. Dynamic effort lower here, of course, we're doing speed boxes, right? We're doing speed deadlifts, and I rotate sumo and conventional for him. Again, with a lot of this, I do want him to get that rack. He's struggling to find and get one that fits correctly. Problem we run into with him getting a rack, he's got a limited ceiling height, and he's tall. Okay, he's a slightly taller lifter, so he's finding in the country he lives in, a lot of the racks that are readily available, they don't have holes drilled all the way up like good racks do. So the J hooks are a little bit low, and they can't go high enough in the racks that he needs. And then they have limited height, whereas normally if the holes are drilled all the way up and upright, you can just set it wherever, irrespective of the height of the rack. So he's running into some issues with finding something that meets his needs. It's in stock, but we will get that sorted so that, again, we can do what he needs to do. Also, other supplemental lifts for the lower days, we do single leg exercises with what he has available, so it's dumbbells at the moment. Okay, so we do split squats, just good mornings, glute bridges, hanging leg raises. And we'll go back to the max effort lower here because I skipped that while talking about the other stuff. All right, so we did a box squat this week. Again, the issue we have, look at that rack he has. I don't want him hitting true maxes. It's always almost, it's like, I don't even know if I want you to get a 2-rep max. So I almost want him to stick with weights that he could grind out 3 reps if he has to, because missing a rep in his setup here would not be good. And even people say, oh, dump it behind you. Well, number one, you're not going to weight lift. You have any risk that you're ever going to power lift. You cannot practice doing that at all. Number two, look at his setup here. There's breakable stuff, damageable stuff. Dumping that bar, at that point, he's having to choose between injuring himself versus breaking stuff in his house. Not really an option. See what I'm saying here? All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.